There's nothing quite like an in-state rivalry. Sure, Ohio State-Michigan is a big rivalry, but it's a conference rivalry with neighboring states. An in-state rivalry, however, divides the state. Certain pockets backing their team, alumni in enemy territory just adds to the intensity. It's like a stew of sorts. You have your in-state rivals, the drama, and the bragging rights. But let's add another ingredient, the rivalry trophy, or in this specific case, trophies. The state of Utah has some college football history. BYU had Heisman winner Ty Detmer in 1990 and the 1984 national championship season. Utah busted into the BCS with Urban Meyer and a future #1 NFL draft pick, quarterback Alex Smith. And Utah State played the role as spoiler. The main rivalry, though, is the Holy War between BYU and Utah. While the most heated rivalry in the state, it's only 1/3 of the component for the Beehive Boot. Let's pump the brakes for a second. What exactly is the Beehive Boot? The boot was created in 1971 by Dave Schulthess, the former sports information director at BYU, and was determined to be a symbolic gesture to the people who helped form the state of Utah, pioneering Mormons. The Beehive part of the name comes from the state's motto of industry. According to BYU's website, it took a while to track down an authentic boot to use. Back in the day, boots were used until they, well, weren't boots anymore. So it wasn't like Schulthess or anybody associated with building the trophy could roll into a thrift store looking for a boot. Also, remember, it was in 1971. The internet wasn't around, so they couldn't post a tweet asking for an authentic boot or scour eBay. Eventually, though, an antique dealer donated the boots for the trophy. The shoe used is thought to be over 100 years old and is truly symbolic of the state's history. While BYU and Utah have held the trophy the most times, Utah State has had their fair share of times holding the boot too. The first 4 years of the Beehive Boot's history was spent with the Aggies. But after that, they would only hold the trophy 2 more times until the year 2000. With the way conference realignment and scheduling have gone, there are years where the 3 schools don't meet each other. In that case, the boot is awarded by an in-state media vote. So either way, someone is getting that boot, either by winning outright on the gridiron or getting the votes needed by media personalities. Things we can agree upon? This is a neat trophy with history. Things that can't be agreed upon? The series history for BYU Utah. Both schools differ on when the series started. Utah lists in their media guide that the rivalry with BYU started in 1896. BYU, on the other hand, says 1922 was the first meeting. It just goes to show how wild the BYU-Utah rivalry is. Like, we can't even agree on the history of games. Right now, the boot resides with the Utes in Salt Lake City. Oh, hey there, Utah State. We're getting to it right now. The Beehive Boot isn't the only trophy amongst the in-state schools. Utah State also shares one with BYU, the Wagon Wheel. The Wagon Wheel may have entered the football trophy scene in 1948. That doesn't mark the first time these schools met. BYU and Utah State started their rivalry in 1922. For the beginning part of the Wheel's history, it spent quite a lot of time in Logan, Utah, as the Aggies won 18 of the first 27 meetings. But in 1975, BYU started to go on a roll. Since then, Utah State has only won the Wheel back 6 times, with last year being one of those years. Still though, that Wheel's racked up some miles traveling between Provo and Logan. For Utah State, BYU is the primary rival, as they stopped playing Utah after the 2015 season. Utah State-Utah began their rivalry, the Battle of the Brothers, back in 1892, and it was an annual occurrence. However, with Utah making it to the big time with the Pac-12, Utah State was the odd team out when it came to scheduling with their brethren. Even though Utah State-Utah is gone for the foreseeable future, the state of Utah has quite a bit of rivalry and trophy history in the world of college football.